many gifts can a congressman take and somehow remain a good man? How many bribes can corporations give before their bribes are forever banned? The answer, my friend, is move to amend. The answer is move to amend. The answer, my friend, is move to amend. The answer is move to amend.
Hey, welcome everybody. Happy New Year's Eve, and welcome to the Move to Amend live stream.
Welcome.
Glad you're here, everyone.
Hello.
So one way that everybody can help right now is to get on, well, obviously you're already there. Sorry, I'm just going to give a little disclaimer. I got my COVID booster yesterday. I feel so bad. So apologies if I say anything wrong. But what I wanted to say is, those of you tuning in right now, please share this link. Please share this link with your friends and family. Share it if you're here on Facebook. Share it on Facebook, Twitter. Share it on Twitter. If you're on YouTube, maybe text it to some folks or send a quick email. Invite people to come in and join you here so that they can learn about Move to Amend. Those of you who are here off the bat, we know you already support Move to Amend and you're with us. So let's bring in some more people. I want to
Yes, it's important. Thanks so much for doing that.
For them to introduce each other or themselves.
Okay.
You can share it really quickly at just move to amend/live. We're streaming it directly from our website to make it a little easier for folks to get here. So please share that link, and I think we'll drop it in the bottom as well.
I don't want to jump in at the wrong time.
Jump in now. Go.
So hey y'all, I'm George Friday. Your sister from the South. And happy New Year's Eve. Glad you're here. And as Caitlin said, you're here now, so you know the importance and the value of Move to Amend. But as we end the year and begin the new year, Move to Amend is one of the only tools that can make sure we have some kind of transparency and accountability with our government. Any chance of a functional democracy, it's through the amendment. And any firewall to fascism, we're it. Yes, I said it, I claimed it. So Move to Amend is vital, and it's vital that we stay strong and push harder going forward and not yield a bit, because this is vital. It's important. It's important to our existence. It's important to our relationship to each other. It's important for all of the populations in this country that have long suffered without even their human rights being seen. Any chance of us having that as a reality is wedded with Move to Amend. So let's make it happen.
Well said, George.
Thanks so much. So I'm going to give you a little teaser here. I'll introduce myself a little bit later. But here, we're at the end of our year, our fundraising drive. We have a really great bonus opportunity if you donate now before tomorrow. Your money will actually get doubled. Grassrootsy as we are, we had a handful of our grassroots leaders come together and pool some funds so we could make your donation stretch longer. So please take advantage of that. Also, if you become a reoccurring donor, a monthly donor during this drive, you will get entered into a raffle, so to speak, and we will draw at the end, and whoever wins will get a fantastic piece of art. And we will hear from the artist himself later in the show. And I want to turn it over to Caitlin. I think she's going to give us a little bit of a taste of some of the folks who've already given and express our gratitude for those who got in early.
Yeah, so for folks who haven't joined these live streams before, we started doing this in the last couple of years. It's just a fun way to like kick off and close out when we have a drive. It gives us an opportunity to highlight some voices of why people support Move to Amend and what they get out of Move to Amend, what they do with Move to Amend, what we do. Like I said at the beginning, bring in some new folks. So, and then we also do it kind of like a radio pledge drive to thank people. So I used to be a programmer on my local radio station some years ago, and I always loved this part. And especially when it's like a community of people who are all pulling together to try and get something done, like a community radio station is. And Move to Amend is like that too. So we got a lot of donations in today already. And as Millie said, if you donate before midnight tomorrow, New Year's, your donation will be doubled. So this is the best time to do it. So I want to thank Debbie from Durham, North Carolina, and William from Columbus, Ohio, and Kenneth from Santa Clarita, California, who already donated and kicked us off. So thanks to you three. There are a whole bunch of other people who donated earlier today. I'll try to get through as many as possible, but we also want to make sure to give you the content for also while you're here. So I'll leave it at that. But if you make a donation now, not only will your donation be doubled, but we'll also thank you on the air, so to speak. And for those of you who we don't get to thank because you donated earlier today, just a general thank you so much for supporting Move to Amend. This is also a great opportunity to maybe just give a little bit more, even if you already did, if you can, just to help us get to our goal so that we can, do 2022 as strong as possible, be resourced for what we need to do. And George spelled out so well, why Move to Amend is so critical. And we'll continue to talk about that for the next hour. So I think, let's see. I'm pretty sure we're going to go to Jenny now, right? Jenny has been working with us for the last year plus and has been an amazing, just dove in, started as an intern, but immediately went, above and beyond on that. And we were really thrilled to be able to invite her to stay on the team and become a core member of our staff team. And so Jenny is in Florida, kind of a challenging place to do Move to Amend, but we have people from all over who are working as hard as they can, no matter what the politics are in their community. And Jenny's been doing awesome work in the South. And so she's going to talk about that and kick us off as our first guest.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. It's great to see you. I'm honored to be here. Are y'all hearing me okay? As she said, my name is Jenny Spanos, and I'm serving as a National Fellow to the Move to Amend Coalition. I became acutely aware of power of corporations yielding over our communities and our democracy, and even our laws, while working as a journalist during the oil spill that was perpetrated by a multinational corporation, absolutely devastating the Gulf of Mexico. I became involved in Move to Amend actually almost 10 years ago, volunteering. Even when I moved, I tried to plug in some capacity, whether it be the movement education program, the neighborhood program, different things like that. And since that time, the coalition and the organizing in general has become the pinnacle of my source for hope for the future. At times I find the existential crisis and immense obstacles that we face pretty overwhelming, but Move to Amend gets to the root of the power of corporate rule, and learning from and working with the coalition towards real solutions for me is a no-brainer. It's the only organization that addresses corporate constitutional rights and money as politics. And I hope you'll all agree and will support for that. Like I said, I find hope in this coalition, and in no small part would include Madeleine Paley. So I'd like to introduce her next. She's one amazing organizer that I have the honor of working within Georgia. She works at the grassroots level in Savannah, Georgia with MTA and also with another organization called Deep Center. And I'd like to turn it over to her and let her tell a little bit about herself. Hey, Madeleine.
Hi. Thank you, Jenny. So as Jenny said, my name is Madeleine. I am a District 1 organizer in Savannah, Georgia. And I am also a senior in high school. So for me, this is extremely important because this impacts so much, my future. And just a little bit as to why I moved to Amend. Well, I moved to Amend because corporate personhood is an issue that touches all others, especially environmental issues. I grew up on a marsh, and like many other people, not just in Savannah, but across the Southeast and anyone living on the coast, my city is under sea level, which means it's at most at risk for climate change. If we allow corporate personhood to persist, then oil companies can just override the wishes of communities like me in favor of their own self-interest. And really, I believe in a government run by the people and not just for the profit or for the whims of just a few corporate powers that can just so easily overpower the average American. The businesses that we interact with daily and what we consume should never be able to control who we become politically. And when making decisions, of course, hopefully Americans are thinking about how the decisions they make will impact the larger community, how they will affect others besides themselves. But a corporation, by existence and by how it's designed, it can't have that empathy with another person. It's only concerned for self-preservation. So I wonder how we would be able to see this as a full human being if it can't even have the morality that's needed to make conscious, wise, informed decisions. If we don't allow immigrants to be full Americans with constitutional rights until we're sure they represent our government values, then how can we ever feel comfortable that our government grants immediate constitutional rights to people that aren't even human? They have no birth date, no expiration date, and they are just taking up too much space in American politics at the moment. It already takes a time-consuming effort to let your representatives and your senators know you're concerned as a citizen. Though our congressmen work for us at the moment, if we allow this decision to continue and persist, they'll also work for Walmart, Facebook, and Google. If these groups are put on the same pedestal as Americans, we simply are going to be unable to compete with them. Because unfortunately, these mega corporations earn more in a minute than most movements can even raise in a year. We need to join this movement to take back control of our democracy and to see our government work for nobody but us. I ask you to join Move to Amend and make a contribution to an issue that touches all others, to be a solution to a root cause and a root problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madeleine. You hit it on so many points that I think we all feel, which is why we are so motivated in this work. Really appreciate your work to further the We the People Amendment. You are extraordinary, and if you are out there watching, please check into our website. There's so many ways to plug in. You don't have to be any particular age, as she has proven. So please take this into your communities, and thank you so much for what you're doing, Madeleine. I now want to introduce another group from South Florida, the South Florida Raging Grannies. And some of you have gotten a taste this week. We sent a blast with their message. But again, movement building really, it so depends on art and music. And so if any of you out there are watching and are musicians and would like to join in along with this, please do, and give us your songs. We'd love to share them into the future. So I'd like to introduce the South Florida Raging Grannies, raging against corporate rule.
We're the South Florida Raging Grannies, and we need to move to amend.
Oh dear, what can the matter be big? Money is killing democracy. We're fed up with the fat cat's hypocrisy. We need to move to amend.
The Supreme Court's decided that big corporations can donate to candidates all through our nation. Elections now are abominations, so we need to move to amend.
Oh dear, what can the matter be? Big money is killing democracy. We're fed up with the fat cat hypocrisy. We need to move to amend.
Most candidates take money that's dirty, or they can't buy ads on the news at 6:30. And folks don't have access to news that is worthy, so we need to move to amend.
Corporations back candidates who help the wealthy, while poor people cannot afford to stay healthy. Our tax money's wasted on bombs that are stealthy, so we need to move to amend.
Oh dear, what can the matter be? Big money is killing democracy. We're fed up with the fat cat's hypocrisy. We need to move to amend.
That was awesome. And Move to Amend is a coalition of organizations. We have, had many people with us from the start, and thanks to the Raging Grannies in numerous communities beyond also just the South Florida folks. But we love the creativity and appreciate the support for sure.
It's always great to hear from the Raging Grannies. And those hats, right? Really fantastic. So thanks, Millie, for sharing that video with us. And I want to remind you, if you haven't yet, please share this, the live stream on all of the platforms that you're active, so that other folks can learn about Move to Amend and, have some good news for them. Also, if you donate as a monthly contributor, so you're one of our sustainers giving every month, you get a chance to win this great cartoon from Michael Ripple. And at the end of the stream this evening, Michael will be around himself to congratulate the winner. So, Caitlin, why don't you give us an idea of where we are and how we're doing?
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of people to thank. So I'm going to start off with that. Thank you so much, everybody who is going to movetoamend.org/donate and making a contribution. Marilee not wanting to say last name. Marilee from Prescott, Arizona. Thank you so much. Lloyd from Wilmington, Delaware. Thank you. Greg from Missoula, Montana. Thank you so much. Thomas from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Thank you. I love the diversity of locations too, just all over the country, which is, really how Move to Amend does this. Wendy from Topanga, California. Ken from Oakland, California. Janet from Sarasota, Florida. Floridian, perhaps inspired by the Floridians who just were supporting Move to Amend a couple minutes ago. Penny from Fairview Heights, Illinois. Georgette from Onsdale, Pennsylvania. Timothy from California. I see a zip code, but I'm not sure the city. Arthur from Missoula, Montana. Vicky from Akron, Ohio. Thank you so much, Vicky. And Lee from Acton, Massachusetts. And shout out to you, Lee. Thank you for all your support over the years and all the work that you've done for the We the People Amendment. Lee is a core organizer in Massachusetts supporting our amendment, and appreciate that so much. So that just gives you, so join us, movetoamend.org/donate. Help us reach our end of year goal. Even though most donations are not tax deductible to Move to Amend because we are a 501c4, if you do need your donation to be tax deductible, you can contribute to our education fund and support solely our educational work versus our lobbying for the amendment. So don't let that deter you. But and even though we are not a 501c3, a tax deductible organization, still nonetheless the majority of our donations comes in on these last days of the year, like many other nonprofits. And so this is a critical time for us. You know, we're trying to take a little bit of a break for the year and get ready for the year ahead, but we're also working our butts off to make sure that we are resourced for next year so that we can be successful and continue the We the People Amendment in Congress, but also the other work that we do around deeper issues of democracy and corporate rule, many of which Madeleine touched on so well. The Raging Grannies talked about all the ways that, you know, this amendment ties to so many issues. And so no matter what else you're supporting, if you work against climate change, thank you. If you're working for healthcare for everyone, thank you. And also, without the We the People Amendment, any legislation that we're able to get through Congress or the state level or even the local level is vulnerable to being overturned by corporations because they have rights and they have more money than we do. And so we have to get them out of the Constitution. And the only way to do that is through a constitutional amendment. So right now, our goal by the end of the day tomorrow is $40,000. We are at $31,987.37. So we are dangerously close. We can totally do this if you make a contribution and help make it happen. I lost track of my script, so I'm not sure who comes next and what I'm supposed to say. Let me find it. I think I'm going to pass it off back to Millie now.
Hey, everybody. I've come on a little bit before. My name is Millie Harman. I'm the outreach coordinator for Move to Amend. And I've been very lucky to wear many hats for this coalition as an affiliate member, as an intern, and now for 5 years as a staff member. I currently live in Northern Arizona and am a part of our newly forming state network. And with that, I really do want to give a shout out. The Raging Grannies in Tucson, Arizona, actually showed up for an action that we did, pressuring their representative, Kirkpatrick, to come on. And, you know, boy golly, we got some press coverage there, and she did come on. So again, thank you there for all the Raging Grannies doing work across the country in your communities. So thinking along the lines of why I moved to Amend, so many reasons, but one of the big initial undeniable realizations for me of the impact of corporate rule was as Arizona enacted SB 1070, which is legislation which enabled law enforcement to pull people over based on the color of their skin and ask for documentation. And of the legislators that voted for the passage of that bill, all of them took contributions that election cycle from private prison corporations. The same corporations who helped shape that bill and aided in the passage of legal requirements mandating private immigration detention facilities to fill beds. It was so clear to me, right? Profit-driven corporations were shaping immigration policy and profiting off of these racist laws and the continuous suffering and detention of human beings. Several of us already talked about working in other movement spaces and finding again and again that there was this common and overarching issue, which is corporations wielding rights at the disadvantage of actual people and the planet they affect. For me, the analysis that Move to Amend offers is one that is a tool to advance the big fundamental problems that we must immediately address to move towards any semblance of democracy and, in fact, really any future on this planet. Corporate rule feeds off of the marginalization and oppression of people, the exploitation of the planet, and the destruction of communities. Passing the We the People Amendment is an important step in calling that reality out and beginning to change the dynamic of where power is held in this country, from the corporate wealthy elite to we the people and the planet of which we live and gives us life. Now, an amendment is not an easy thing to do, but it is not impossible either. What it will take is each and every one of us giving as we can. And we know that contributions come in so many forms, and we are deeply grateful for all of them. But this work takes money, right? We can't shy away from that. We focus our fundraising efforts at the end of the year and in spring. So the rest of the year, we are doing the work alongside incredible community organizers such as yourself. So if you haven't already, please, please, please share this video. And if you can, make an end of year financial contributions. As we've mentioned, all gifts will be matched to $40,000 into the end of tomorrow. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Keon Bliss, board member of Move to Amend.
Hi there, everyone. Thank you so much for all of your continued support from you all on the local, state, and federal level. It really warms my heart. I've been with Move to Amend since the summer of 2013 when I first joined on as an intern, and have been with Move to Amend now going on 9 years. And for me, what got me first involved in Move to Amend was the fact that for Move to Amend, the issue of corporate rule, corporate constitutional rights, isn't just a political issue. It's not just about how much money they spend in elections, but really the impact on actual human beings. Because for Move to Amend, this is a human rights issue that intersects with every struggle for justice today. That includes my own personal struggle for racial justice and police accountability here in my local community in Sacramento, California. And it has been, this continuous struggle for basic recognition of our human rights for Black, Indigenous, people of color goes back all the way to the beginning. When the U.S. Constitution was originally written as a property rights document that only added human rights as an afterthought. But even after it was ratified, the only persons considered worthy of constitutional rights were wealthy white male property owners over the age of 21, which was less than 10% of the early population. And for me, I like recognizing that history and seeing that Move to Amend is one of the few organizations that actually name that as they organize really meant a lot to me because many of you know we've made good progress in expanding constitutional protections by amending the Constitution 27 times. But because of this, the failure of our founders and the constitutional framework itself, failing to define who is a person worthy of protection, large-scale corporations and other unofficial entities created by state law have been treated as equal persons with the same inalienable human rights as you and me, longer than women, longer than Black and Indigenous people of color, longer than other less wealthy people, including less non-property owning white people, the vast majority of living human beings in the U.S. And even worse, these group of corporate owners have long maintained their status on power by establishing systems of oppression that divide U.S. society along arbitrary social lines of race, sex, and class that we still see and grapple with today. We see that here in the rates in the disparities within COVID infections and so forth. And for me, that's something that I can't put down, no matter what. No matter what issue I'm working on, I don't have a choice in being a person of color. And the fact that Move to Amend as an organization centers these struggles for justice and anti-oppression work as its strategy for mobilizing a broad intergenerational cross-class movement that has all such a multifaceted, multi-ethnic origins and faces to it, really meant a lot to me because as I've learned through this work, and as many of you are at home are more than well aware of, corporate power in this country cannot exist without oppression because it depends upon throwaway classes of people who must suffer to maintain the comfort of the powerful, which is why for me and for many of us on Move to Amend, we believe that anti-oppression can't just be part of our campaign. It actually has to be our campaign. Which is why we have strived so hard to really center the shared realities of those of us that have been left out of the original promise for democracy here in the United States. in order to actually create a real, genuine participatory democracy for us, so that represents everyone, that puts human lives and well-being and the environment, the planet itself, first above property and profit interests. Because as we can see with how we are responding to this deadly global pandemic that has claimed over 800,000 of our loved ones just in this country and millions of people across the world, there is no better time than now, really, that we need to actually address the fundamental core problems within the United States and really recenter our priorities to put people and the planet first and property rights last, because because we together are going to get us through this. And I can't thank you enough. I can't thank Move to Amend and all of you at home enough for how supportive you have been over these past going on 13 years in this struggle. I've been here with you, and I'm still going to be here with you until we get the We the People Amendment passed through Congress, or we have a new constitution, whichever comes first. So really want to thank everybody again for really putting in the time and support.
All right, I'm going to jump in here to thank some folks, because otherwise we're going to get way behind. Thank you so much for all of these donations. They're coming in hot and really appreciate it. So I want to thank JC from Newbury Park, California, and Lawrence, awesome volunteer from the Bay Area. Thank you for giving again. Gives monthly, gives whenever we ask. Thank you so much, Lawrence, and gives so much of his time. Donna from Portland, Oregon. Jeremy from Salt Lake City, Utah. O'Neill from Visalia, I think it is. I always say it wrong, but California. Never been there. Jeff from Indianapolis, Indiana. Lillian from North Hollywood, California. Diane from Avondale Estates, Georgia. And I believe, let me make sure this is true. No, it's Doran. And then the next person is Doran from Louisa, Virginia. And a couple of those people in there became monthly donors. Thank you so much for your support. That's an excellent way to support Move to Amend. I give monthly. Everybody on our national team gives monthly. And it's a way for those of us who don't have a lot of cash to contribute a little bit more, right? So obviously, if you have a couple $100s to give right now, and a few of those donations that I read off, thank yous were very generous. So thank you for that support. But a lot of us don't have that much money, right? But if you can give $5 a month, $10 a month, then you can contribute more over the year in a sustainable way, and in a way that really helps us, because then we know that that money is there and we can count on it, and we can proceed accordingly with the agenda and goals that we set. And so that's an excellent way to give, and a reminder that anybody who gives $50 a month or more will be entered into the raffle to win a cartoon from an artist who supports Move to Amend. There are many of them out there, and we always really appreciate when folks will contribute their art. So you'll get to hear from Michael and why he supports Move to Amend at the end of this broadcast. So I'm going to turn it over now to Tara Ingram, who's one of our other board members. Known Tara for many years now, and has just been a core, like so many folks telling you about the different roles. People, start off maybe as an intern or a volunteer, but get the bug and stay committed, and which is so important, because this is a long-term campaign. And so it's not something that we can take care of tomorrow, which makes the keeping up the support all the more of a challenge for us. So those of you who understand, like Tara, that it's a long-term investment to support Move to Amend, thank you. And that, I always do this the wrong way. Turn it over to you, Tara.
Thanks, Caitlin. Hi, it's great to be here. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to share, I was reflecting on an event that happened to some friends of mine this past week. They're fine, so just lead with that. But they were in a hit and run accident that did some good damage to the car. And it was actually from the car that hit them was stolen. and the people that had stolen it fled the scene. And so what they found out was that they likely would not they would have to use their insurance because the car was stolen. And so that put them in this position of, do we file a claim? Because that puts us at risk of our insurance being raised or even being dropped from it. And as I was reflecting on that, it's like, so why do we have insurance? Because the costs just end up coming back onto us and the threat of it. So they're actually paying out of pocket. Thankfully, the car is actually repairable for quite some sum of money. Thankfully, they actually have access to that cash. Not a lot of people do. And so if their car was totaled, they would have to buy a used car or a new car on their own dime. It's really hard to get used cars right now. They're expensive. So we're new cars. And then there's another aspect of the insurance business in terms of fires, California fires. There was a huge, massive, fast fire that went along Highway 50 in California this past summer. And I heard stories. I knew people who lived up there. And there are towns now that have changed. The insurance laws have changed. You can't get fire insurance anymore. In some cases, it means you can't live up there. I've been in rentals where you couldn't rent it unless you could get fire insurance. So these things are becoming really prohibitive for people. So the insurance is it's not for us, right? And part of why it's not for us is because the insurance industry is using their corporate constitutional rights to literally write laws. The lobbyists are literally drafting the laws to govern their own industry and handing them over to Congress. And in some cases, those get passed with very little adjustment. And this is across the board in many, many, many industries. So it's just another example of how we need insurance, and yet we suffer from it. You know, we're not really getting the benefit of it in a lot of cases, or we are put in positions like my friends who they have to weigh this risk to themselves. And the industry is really built for the industry to make profit, not for people to get the support and help that they need, even though they pay every month into it. So this is, and that also links, you know, the fire insurance story was making me reflect on Jessica's experience, who she shared hers in the last live stream. The town she grew up in, Paradise, you know, the whole town was just flattened, basically. And PG&E, who is at fault for that fire, is raising rates on people that are living in the area now. So again, the costs are passed on to us. And this is all tied into corporate constitutional rights, which the We the People Amendment would take care of. So I'm super excited to be a part of this. And I'm not sure who I'm passing it on to, but it's exciting to hear about the different donations that are coming in. And thank you all for participating.
It's coming back to me, I think, just to give some thank yous, and then we'll keep going. This is so great. Thank you so much, everybody. So let's see. I want to thank
Let's
Sally.
remind people, Caitlin, that we have not one, but 2 drawings that will go in the raffle. I want to make sure we remember that. That's fantastic for folks who are becoming sustaining donors.
Excellent. Yes. And so just where we are right now, our goal by the end of the day tomorrow, we are in good shape, especially if people keep it up like you are. So right now, as of this moment, we're at $32,739.37. And that is thanks to folks like Sally in Chanhassen, Minnesota. Sorry if I have not said that right. Linda in Beverly, Massachusetts. Jean in Xenia, Ohio, and Jean became a monthly donor. Thank you so much, Jean. Jan from Sebastopol, California, one of our awesome organizers in Sonoma County. Thank you for your support, Jan, and everything that you do. Martin from Massachusetts. Doug from Portland, Oregon. I think Portland, Oregon is winning in the house for the most donations from there. So Thanks, Portland.
No other cities.
Yeah, don't let Portland show you up. We know that, Portland always gets the good credit. Give them a run for their money. Let's see. Bill from St. Petersburg, Florida. Thank you so much. Keith from Lakeport, California. Pamela from Glen Carbon, Illinois. Another one of our awesome organizers who gives time and resources every time we ask. Thank you so much, Pam. Laura from Seattle, Washington. And Christian from Danville, California. Thank you so much to all of you. And you can get thanked too and be part. It's not, the thank you is nice, but really it's about being part of this effort and being part of this community that is trying to do something that is pretty off the wall, but at the same time, thank God that there have been movements who have been as off the wall and audacious as we are at Move to Amend in our past. Thanks to them, we have been able to be a nation that doesn't have slavery, women have the right to vote. Like, this is the way that our Constitution has been amended, through regular people coming together and throwing in everything we've got. It's never come from on high. It's never come from the leaders. And that's why I feel optimistic that even though there's so much power against us, on the other hand, that is such an unsustainable situation. We all know that. And their downfall is inevitable if we all band together. And Move to Amend is a way to do that. And right now, the way to do it is so easy. Just make a donation. And then if you're moved to do more, then while you do that, sign up to volunteer and we'll be in touch with you in the new year and plug you in. I'm going to pass it over to George now.
Oh, you are? Well, thank you very much. And thanks to all of the folks who've shared their stories tonight. Madeleine, Keon, Millie, Tara. I hope I haven't missed anybody. Because it's vital that we share our stories. Jenny, yes. Thanks so much, Jenny. And all that good energy from different parts of the country. Those donations you're giving from different places. These little bursts of energy for change and justice. And we have to sustain that. And thank you for helping us sustain that, especially if you become a sustainer. So it's not too late to share the live stream because there's the recording that people can see even tomorrow. And, after we're done tonight, share this with people so they get a chance to find out what's going on and a chance to contribute. Although they won't get the chance y'all get tonight, those of y'all who become sustainers or will, to get one of these great groovy pieces of art from Mr. Ripple, who will be giving it away shortly. I think that's all that you want to hear from me. Although I also want to make sure I'm turning this over to Millie, who's going to introduce the video for us.
Wait, before she does that,
maybe?
Can I just say we're at $32,867.37 right now. So I hope that before you hear me thank another round of people again, let's get to 33. Okay. So if you've been waiting 33 out there, now is your moment. And you'll get a special extra
over that little
cherry on top. Thank you from me. All right, take it away, Millie.
All right.
Great. Thank you so much. I am so pleased to introduce someone now of whom I am a big fan and of whom I have been greatly influenced by in my journey to understanding corporate rule and its stronghold on our democracy. Kat Dobbs is the mastermind behind the outreach and branding of the groundbreaking documentary films, The Corporation and The New Corporation. Kat is known for highly effective and heartfelt transmedia campaigns in film, video, print, and digital. Welcome, Kat. Thank you so much for sharing your message with us.
Kat Dodds here to encourage you to support Move to Amend. They're a fantastic organization that I first became aware of when we were promoting the film The Corporation, which takes on the institution of the corporation and its harms to society, looks at the institution of the corporation and why it is so deeply problematic. And the work of Move to Amend really closely aligns itself with all the things we've been talking about with that film and the recent, unfortunately necessary sequel, The New Corporation. Move to Amend recently hosted a virtual screening and panel, and that was really successful. We're thrilled that 564 people got to see the film and have a discussion about colonial corporate capitalism and its stranglehold on all of our movements. We really need movements like Move to Amend to be supported. Of course, they don't get corporate money or big foundation funding or government money, so they need you, the people, to support them so they can do this really, really important work. And I strongly encourage you to give to Move to Amend so that they can help all of us rise up and resist corporate power.
Woo! Thank you so much, Kat. Are you going to give us another update, Caitlin?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to answer Jan, who's tuning in via YouTube. So if there anybody like her would like to donate by mail, you absolutely can do that. We actually have folks all over the country, but and we work from home. That is a more effective way to do this and allows us to spread those dollars even further. But our kind of headquarters is in Sacramento, California, where I live, and a few other folks who have spoken live. So if you go to movetoamend.org, and then up at the top of the page on the far right, there's the donate button, but then there's also underneath that donation support page. And on that page, you can see where to mail a donation. You can download a form if you want to do that, or you can just send a check. So if sending a donation by mail works better for you, we will happily take your donation that way. And, then there's no credit card fees. So that's great. So let's see. We're not quite at the 33,000. We're at 32,917.
Y'all didn't do your homework. Come on.
It looks like one more donation potentially. So come on, guys. I'm seeing donations from people who, I love the ones from our volunteers who put in all the work. I don't actually have everybody queued up in terms of saying where they are. So I would say, Millie, let's go to the next person. And then when I do come back on next time, I'm going to thank this people. And I want one of those people to be the one who put us to 33,000. Please, please.
Okay, well, again, so thrilled to introduce the next person, Daniel Lee, Dr. Daniel Lee, who is a board member, community organizer, and elected official. And congratulations, Daniel, just became the mayor of Culver City, California. Thanks for sharing your message of why you moved to Amend. Let's cue him up.
Oh, is he not here? No? Okay. That's all right. Okay.
But he will be joining us soon.
Somebody text him. He did ask me for the link, so I know he's alive and just fine. So that's okay. In the meantime, I can thank these folks who I've got queued up here. So I don't remember whether I already thanked Christopher from Portland, so maybe you're getting a second thank you, or maybe just Portland's getting
Portland's getting too much love. Caitlin, settle down.
How about a thank you to Michael from Prescott, Arizona? Michael is one of our tireless volunteers working really hard in Prescott to keep Move to Amend going strong there, and a solid donation monthly from him, which I think he already gives monthly too. So there are some people who do more than one. Maybe, if you get, for example, paid twice a month and you want to give a monthly donation, and split it up between two different donations, absolutely, we'll take it.
And I just want to say, while we're on Michael, extra shout out. This is a person who takes Move to Amend in absolutely every conversation that they have. And it is so much appreciated. He has helped spread the word about the We the People Amendment throughout Arizona for many years. So thank you very much. And so many ways to contribute, as simple as a conversation with those you interact with on a daily basis.
Well, and likewise, actually, Michael's colleague Marshall made a donation too. So 2 donations from
Yep. The other affiliate leader there is
who Millie works closely with as a fellow Arizonan. So thank you so much to Michael and Marshall. And then also to Kelsey from Eureka, California, another Move to Amend volunteer. You guys don't understand like how, those of you who are not plugged in, and I see somebody new, so I'll say to Pitbull 6098, we are moved to amending the Constitution to make clear that only human beings have constitutional rights, not corporations. And to also make clear that money is not speech, and therefore our government absolutely has the authority to regulate and ban campaign spending so that big money doesn't rule our elections. And so it's the We the People Amendment. It will do both of those 2 things. It's House Joint Resolution 48 in Congress. We have been in Congress numerous times now, and we are still going strong. We have more co-sponsors than ever before. And that's the work that we do. So back to thanking Kelsey, these folks are just regular people who are rolling up their sleeves, working as hard as they possibly can every single day or week or month that we make room for you, no matter how much time you've got. We have a lot of people who are retired, but we also have a lot of people who work really hard doing lots of other things and make the time for Move to Amend, and then still put their dollars where, their heart is. And those dollars are hard to come by. We are regular, working class people. But like I said earlier, that's who has amended the Constitution every time we have amended the Constitution for justice in this country. So Jeffrey, yes, there is a live bill. It's House Joint Resolution 48. If you want to read the language, you can go to movetoamend.org/amendment and see it. We have been working very hard on this issue ever since Citizens United in 2010. And we have just grown since then. And yes, our amendment is in Congress. And yes, you can support it right now. You can support it by making a donation, but you can also support it by being a volunteer, contacting your congressperson, etc. So
I also really want to underline, Caitlin, is, the We the People Amendment is the only solution on the table to get at the root cause of Citizens United, which is abolishing all corporate constitutional rights. So, we only get the chance to amend the Constitution so often. We're going to do it. We're going to do it right? So please contribute in any way that you can. Check out our website if you want to figure out how to support this movement in your community.
And I am happy to say that we reached that 33,000 goal for this moment. Our goal for by the end of the day tomorrow is $40,000. And if we can get there before that, we'll absolutely take it. But thank you to Lisa from Port Angeles, Washington, and Jenny, who you heard from earlier from Pensacola, Florida, to help put us over that little benchmark to clear $33,000, putting us in a good position to keep going. So if you haven't contributed yet, Jeffrey, they're on YouTube. Pitbull, you said you support what we're doing. Great. Thank you so much. Please make a donation to support it. We'll take any amount, whatever you can afford and whatever feels right to you. But as we've talked about, and those of you who are tuning in late, I hope you can maybe watch the recording when it's done, because we've had some folks very eloquently articulate how this amendment touches on almost every other issue out there. Big money and corporations wielding more than their fair share of power is who's ruling our government and making it so that we, have whether it's racially unjust laws or an economy that is centered around profit instead of protecting our planet and making sure that it is here in a livable way for future generations. The list goes on, and I'm not going to repeat what folks said, but I think we've made an excellent case. And if you go to movetoamend.org/donate, you can make a contribution right now. Thanks. Pitbull.
And for those of you who are brand new, please, please, please don't forget to sign our petition, which is at movetoamend.org/motion. This is a really, really important tool that we use to prove the support in our community, whether that's to pass resolutions, whether that's to get new representatives on board. It's a really great way to show your support in addition to making a donation today.
Couple more people to thank, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Keon from Sacramento, California, who you heard from earlier. One of the things that's just always so great about our team is that everybody, scrapes together what they can and then steps up and scrapes together more. And then Suzanne from Alameda, California, thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate you.
I know we know like a lot of these people, so I'm just like, I want to shout out all of you individually.
Well, I mean, that's part of what we're trying to do. But at the same time, one of the things that's so beautiful is that at the end of the day, we end up getting so many donations. Like 40,000 is not a small amount. And remember, Millie told us earlier, it's 40,000 because that will be matched. So that's the other thing, making your donation now. We'll take your donation anytime, but making it now means that it will be matched between now and the end of the year, between midnight tomorrow. And we need this money at the end of the year. Millie already said this, but it's worth reiterating that, we try not to be one of those groups that's constantly just asking you for money. We provide you action and opportunity to plug in, but this does cost money. But the way that we make it work is with thousands and thousands and thousands of small donations for the most part. There are a few people who can kick in a little bit more, and we really appreciate them. But honestly, and it's no surprise, there's no big corporations funding us. We don't get any government money. We're not getting checks for millions of dollars. No matter how much we've got, we make it last. We put it to its best use, and we persevere. And during the last couple of years with COVID, last year we had to lay off all of our staff. Everybody stayed working as volunteers because that's how committed we are to Move to Amend. We're not in it for the paycheck, but at the same time, we couldn't really be effective if we didn't have people who didn't have to have other jobs and are able to do the work. So our folks,
despite this pandemic, being laid off, we still had our best year in Congress yet. So it's a testament to the issue and all the people involved in pushing it forward.
Absolutely. And on top of that, this has been incredibly tough times to be talking about systemic issues as we have these immediate crises in front of us, and a government that, is very happy to be distracted with all kinds of things instead of working on the systemic solutions that actually will solve the problem. But we are not going to let them off the hook. And that's something you can count on from us. So it looks like Daniel is here now. He's a very busy man and had a call that ran over. So I'm glad you could join us. I'm going to say, let's pass it over to him. And then we do have some more folks to thank. So when he's done, we'll do that. And in the meantime, please go to movetoamend.org/donate if you haven't made your contribution yet.
Oh, I was making sure that I could see myself before. Obviously, very happy to be here. Very happy to be in the work. And I think for me, the national team, me being a part of the national team, it'll be my 10-year anniversary this March. And I got to say, for me, a lot of my focus hasn't changed. That's both a good and a bad thing. I was very passionate to be involved with Move to Amend very generally because of my passion around the environment. I always tell people I was much more radical when I was younger. And when I say younger, I mean when I was in middle school. And it's sort of true. That was when I started a petition to the then president, I won't say their name so you don't know how old I am, to ban offshore drilling in the Gulf Coast on Florida. Unfortunately, of course, we found out a few weeks ago the Biden administration has granted an unprecedented amount of offshore drilling leases in the Gulf Coast, which is not the type of thing that you think a climate leader would do. And I feel like one of the reasons that he did is the influence of money and corporate power in our politics. That's the entire reason I got involved. It's not the sole reason, because there are other ways in which corporations in particular feed into some of the worst injustices in our system. A lot of corporations don't really care about people in other countries who we preemptively invade, whose families or entire bloodlines are erased through the military weapons that we sell or through the actions of our military, because they're making money. It's very weird to say this, and I know this has probably come up in the stream already, but the Netflix film Don't Look Up, which is directed by a past Move to Amend donor, Adam McKay, is a very good encapsulation of like our situation, not just in regards to climate change, but in regards to the military industrial complex and the part of that complex that sort of feeds into politics, politics on the local level. And I mean policing on the local level. And in that respect, I currently serve as mayor in Culver City, California. I'm the city's first African-American mayor. But to some degree, the reason that why there hasn't been an African-American mayor before me is because of the power of real estate developers in my city and their desire to create a white mecca on the west side of Los Angeles that would cater only to affluent white people. It's taken a very long time. I always tell people I'm not a fan of first, because I feel like things like me being the first African American mayor of my city in Culver City, California, is something that, you know, probably should have happened in like maybe the 60s and 70s. Probably really should have happened in like 1904, but like it's not something to celebrate for me. It's something to mourn to some degree. And it's something that is very instructive in the context of corporate power. Corporate power is sort of apolitical to some degree. The only politics that they really are in favor of is the politics of money. Like wherever the money is, wherever the money goes, wherever we can get the money coming to us, that's what we will support. And that's one of the reasons that, well, that's one of the reasons I'm running for Congress in my district as well. Most of our Congress members, if not almost all, are beholden to corporations and dark money. Even the people that we think of as good are good on like certain issues, but there are, you know, one or two things where it's just like, hey, I don't think it's fine to have, I don't think it's bad to have a landfill next to a housing development in my district. That's fine. I don't think it's fine to have, I don't think it's bad to have oil derricks operating next to children in schools. And that's the type of thing that should, you know, it shouldn't even be a consideration. It shouldn't pass the smell test. It should be like, no, of course we're not going to consider this. Don't bring this to my desk. But with the incipient influence of money that comes both from the Citizens United ruling, but also from Buckley versus Vallejo, which really like said money equals speech, but also on a higher level. And I think one of the things that we haven't emphasized as much is basically said, if you're an affluent person, if you're an independently wealthy person, you can spend as much of your own money as you want to buy an election. I think that's fundamentally undemocratic. And it's something that we need to get rid of, but we can't get rid of it unless we have groups like Move to Amend really working to change the system, not just to get a reform, not just to pass a bill that will make us feel better about ourselves, but won't substantially change the impacts. I was reminiscing with somebody this actually today and another person yesterday about President Biden's quote to some donors at a private meeting that was, you know, replayed over and over again, but where he said that things won't fundamentally change if he's elected. If things don't fundamentally change, that means misogyny still reigns, and corporations that have a culture of misogyny and sexism will still dominate our discourse. That means that the state of racism won't change, and the unequal distribution of power when it comes to both elected office and power within large companies will still be disparate. And, you know, even when that power is given to women, is given to people of color, is given to people in the queer community, LGBTQIA folks. It will be given to those folks who are fine with actively disenfranchising the people whom they claim to represent. That's not democracy. That's not democracy on, the political level or on the corporate level. And I feel like some people might ask, well, why are you talking about these things together? But I feel like if you ask most people in the United States, to explain what democracy is or what American democracy is, they will describe capitalism. And that's a problem because if they describe capitalism as a system of governance and are unable to separate that from democracy itself, it means that they fundamentally don't understand what even the founders, as problematic as they were, intended. And we need to get beyond the founders. We are generations, hundreds of years beyond that, and for me, I don't want to take my, marching orders from landed gentry who have slaves and who don't think women are people and who don't think indigenous people are people. I want to take it from the people who are active right now, who know what America represents right now. And America is incredibly diverse. America, more and more, is represented, at least in the employment field, by a lot of highly educated women. And women are getting a higher level of education than men. And that's been the trend for like 10 to 20 years. Move to a Men really focuses on centering organizing and centering the people whose voices have been sublimated. And for the most part, that has been women, that has been people of color, that has been immigrants, that has been working class people, and us coming together to try to say, this is not the type of democracy that we want. And on the other hand, this is not democracy. And we're working towards an amendment that would be the first step towards true democracy in this country. I think there's a reason, even though I got some very large criticisms about Howard Dean at the moment, but there's a reason that after he sort of crashed and burned in his presidential campaign, there's a reason that he named the organization that he started after that Democracy for America. Because there is a very large argument that democracy has never really existed in America. It's only existed for certain people. It has definitely existed for corporations. It has definitely existed for rich people. It has not existed for Black people. It's not existed for women, especially women who are, middle to lower class, poor women. It has not existed for queer people at a lot of different levels. It has not existed for immigrants who, by and large, and I've said this a lot in the last couple of weeks, were the real hero workers in the pandemic and the continuing pandemic, because we're nowhere near out of it. Grocery workers, yes. Hospital workers, yes. And I'm glad, as mayor here in Culver City, we've been able to pass hero pay for both grocery workers and hospital workers. A lot of cities talked about passing it for hospital workers, but then they ran away when there was a threat of a lawsuit. We moved forward. We're the only city in California that has done that, and one of the only cities in the country. But the people who have kept us going are the people that we devalue through our immigration policy. And that policy prizes the rights of corporations over the rights of people, who made sure that those of us who are at home are still able to eat, are still able to even go to the grocery store with things actually being on the shelves. And they have kept us going during this pandemic. So one of the reasons that I'm very passionate about continuing to be part of Move to Amend and continuing to support the organization's efforts is that it really highlights, the true structure of how we continue to subsist. Like, our true infrastructure is made of people. It is made of working class people who allow the corporations to have the bottom lines that they have. Most of those people are documented, but a large proportion of those people are undocumented and devalued. Both of those groups are devalued very generally in this Omicron wave. I'll end with this because it's something that's been pissing me off this week. But the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, have basically narrowed down their requirements for to basically put yourself separate yourself from folks for like about 10 days was the recommendation, 10 to 14 early on. The CDC has narrowed that down to 5 days now. And it's not based on science. It's not based on like, scientists saying, hey, after 5 days, you're probably good, or our data shows us that you're great. It's based on the bottom line. It's based on the bottom line, and that bottom line could endanger and kill millions of people across the country. That is what Move to Amend fights against, to put people over profit. We're nowhere near the end of this pandemic. Every time we think we're near the end, we make some type of accommodation for a corporation that leads us into another wave of the pandemic. When we are more focused on making sure that people's health and safety is protected, then we make strides, then we make advancements that allow us to move on. I support Move to Amend, and I move to amend in my daily life, my monthly, weekly life. I'm a donor as well, because I know that we're focused on really prizing people's existence and their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that was put into the Declaration of Independence, but it seems like it was only meant for a couple folks. I personally think that should be for everybody, every resident of the United States, whether they are documented or undocumented, whether they are white, Black, Latino, Asian, Indigenous, gay, straight, bi, non-binary, asexual, trans, whatever they may be. Those rights are for everyone. And the way that our corporate structure operates, it still prizes white male landowners. We talk about that as the founding of the Constitution and what it was intended for. And the Bill of Rights is something that we had to fight to include. But we're still at that point. We still prize white male landowners. And Move to Amend is one of the ways that we can make sure that lower class white people, that women of all ethnicities, genders, sexualities, disabilities, or abilities are represented in our Constitution and are afforded those same rights. To do anything less is to deny the humanity of our brothers and sisters and non-binary folks and trans folks around the country. And that's not something that I want to be a part of. So I'm very happy to be on the board of Move to Amend and to have my 10-year anniversary coming up in March 2022. I'm very happy to support and be a donor myself. I sincerely hope that you will join me in donating to Move to Amend, not just once, but becoming a regular sustainer to keep this movement alive and to keep the push for democracy in America something that we really want to make a final reality here in this country. We got a long way to go. It's a very dark road at the moment, but there are a lot of bright people who, serve as lights to lead us along the way. And I'm happy to be in concert and walking beside such a passionate group of folks. But with that, I think I will wrap up my little segment. But I'm, happy to be here today as always.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for all the work that you have been doing for the last many years in lots of ways, but bringing Move to Amend to it. And, we don't have that many elected officials who are willing to take the risk and stand with the people over donors. And we have many of those people with us at Move to Amend. And it's worth mentioning that one of the campaigns that we have, we're going into an election year next year. Our Pledge to Amend campaign is a way for people who are running for office to make clear that they support Move to Amend and the movement to democratize this country. And so as you're thinking about, whether you want to get involved in Move to Amend in 2022, if you're not already active, joining in our Pledge to Amend campaign is a great way to do that, to get elected officials or people running for office, people like Daniel, to pledge to amend and to start at the local level even, because while of course we need Congress members ultimately to be the ones to support this amendment, and then we need state legislators to be the ones to ratify it, the people who are most likely to run for office at the higher levels start off as city council members, as county supervisors, and that's part of why our strategy is to talk to people early when they are more accessible and they're less bought off and they're still in it for the right reasons. And not everybody at the local level even is there, but when they're not, then we put the pressure on, and we make it clear that whose side they're on. And that's one of the things that we all need to do anytime there's an election, and stop supporting people who don't support policies that support human beings and the planet. So I want to thank a few more people, and then we have one more set of guests for you, and then we're going to wrap it up for the evening. So thank you so much, Amir from Long Beach, California. Thank you, Robert from Tarzana, California. Thanks to Dee and David from Eugene, Oregon, and Jeffrey from Riverside, California. And Shelly, our dear Shelly from Sacramento, California, one of our staff members who couldn't be on tonight, but who's obviously tuning in and doing her part to make an additional contribution in addition to all her time. And John from Gilbert's, Illinois, thank you so much for your donation. And Robert from Sterling, Massachusetts. Really appreciate all of you. Some of those donors were monthly donors, new monthly donors coming on. So again, a reminder that that's a great way to support, and perhaps a more sustainable way for you, but also a sustainable way for us, because then we know that the resources will be there and we can count on them and we can plan accordingly. It's hard when we have to raise so much in a big chunk. It's easier for us when we know that it's just, the amount that we need will be there and we can focus on the work. So I want to turn it over now to Sarah Mornon and Bobby Hunger, who are two of our volunteers from Rhode Island, Move to Amend, who are going to talk about the work that they've been doing, the successful, awesome work that they've been doing, lobbying their Congress rep, and give you a sense of what it is that our volunteers do with Move to Amend. So take it away, Sarah and Bobby.
Hi, my name is Bobby Hunger. And the way I heard about Move to Amend, I can't remember. I just remember showing up at the office, at the meeting, and listening to Greg give a deep dive into the history of our country when it comes to corporations. And I thought I was very inspired by his knowledge and actually what has happened. And so I was sold. That's how I got into Move to Amend. And you, Sarah?
Yes, hi, I'm Sarah Morno, and it's a total fluke that I got involved with Move to Amend. My friend Rebecca is the clerk of the Providence Friends meeting, and she was unavailable to unlock the door. She and I live across the street from each other, around the corner from the meeting house, and I had a key and I was available. So my husband and I went over around, to find out what was going on and unlock the door. And Greg Coleridge's information was so intriguing that I stayed.
We started holding meetings at my house. 6 or 7 people usually came, and we went to events at the State House lawn. We joined organizations like Climate Action Rhode Island and talked it up everywhere we could, handing out pamphlets and getting signatures. I even made a Move to Amend banner, 2 banners with a Groupon, and we use those at our tables.
Rhode Island has only 2 representatives, David Cicilline and Jim Langevin. So going back to 2018 or so, we worked on David Cicilline first. We met up with him and he thought he knew all about it, but he had signed the other versions. And we pointed out the difference to him in the wording between shall and may being kind of wussy. And he quickly co-sponsored and has done so every year since. So yay for us, 1 down, 1 to go. Bobby?
And we definitely made sure that constituents, I'm one of them, sent Cicilline thank you messages and calls. As for Jim Langevin, I organized a Zoom meeting with his aides in March, and then another one in July by emails and calls.
So this is a funny story. On the first conference call, Langevin's aide told us she was in a laundromat, and she had just a photo up there. She was not conversing with us whatsoever, asking questions or anything. So we were a little discouraged by that. And then the summertime conference call with a replacement aide, Alec, was the complete opposite. He was attentive, interested. He prepared, information on the topic. And so we felt much better about that. So after the conference call, Alec told us that Jim Langevin had some questions, and Greg sent us clarifying information so that we could tell him what the difference was between the various versions. We also called, we wrote letters, we sent emails, and several letters got into the Providence Journal newspaper.
The end of that happy story is that Representative Langevin did decide to support the move to amend in November of this year. And I believe that it is significant that he since he's been in office since 2001, this is the first time he's signed on. And I do believe that our efforts made the difference. The members that were on those calls each gave personal stories about how corporations have affected their lives in a negative way. I would encourage everyone who can to give whatever you can to help move to amend pass this resolution, and I sure do, and I hope you do too.
Thanks, Sarah and Bobby. And they just it's so I've been saying, it's regular people getting together, but also having that persistence and sticking with it. And that's what's going to see us through and get it done. And that's also what's going to see us through and get it done in terms of our pledge drive right now and every small benchmark that we make along the way until we amend the Constitution. So just want to remind everybody again that we're coming up to the end here, and you can still make a donation. It's movetoamend.org/donate. You can still share this video when we're done with your friends and family. Tell them that you made a donation and that you hope that they will join you and do it too. We're trying to raise $40,000 additional between now and midnight tomorrow, and we are in a good position to be able to accomplish that if everybody keeps on giving. So I want to thank Chris from Solon, Ohio, and then also Greg Coleridge from Cleveland Heights, Ohio. And part of what, so Greg was mentioned in the last video. He is our outreach director. He's the staff person who was supporting the folks in Rhode Island. And it just gives you a really good taste of what it is like. We find a couple people on the ground who are willing to put in the time. Most of the time, they don't really know that much about this issue. They are not experts. And we help get them up to speed on what to say and how to understand this issue from their own perspective, and then support you in doing the work to bring this to your congresspeople. And if your congress member is not yet a co-sponsor of the We the People Amendment, and again, you can see that list if you go to movetoamend.org/amendment, then let's also be in touch with us so that we can work with you in the new year to put the pressure on them. And we have folks like Greg and Millie and some of the other people that you've seen tonight who will support you in doing that. So if you've never done that kind of lobbying of your representative, we make it fun, we make it enjoyable. And lots of times we actually are successful even with folks that you wouldn't think that we would be, because they don't actually hear from that many of their constituents. They're mostly hearing from lobbyists. And we also know how to turn up the heat in the media and make them feel as though, it's not tenable for them to not be supportive. And we do that in a respectful but firm way, because we can't afford not to pass this amendment immediately, right? So work with us to make it happen.
And as you say, most people actually don't have experience when they come to us and are interested in getting on board and talking to the representative. I sure had really just a couple, not a lot, and certainly no confidence in it, but they don't get a lot of people stomping on their door. And when a few show up consistently, it really does make a difference across party lines, across, ideologies. Your representative, will take heed when you make a fuss. So please, we encourage you to do so. And we will be there to guide you along the way.
We got one more donation from Portland. Gordon, thank you for your support. And now I think we're going to close it up. Unfortunately, Michael's not going to be able to join us, turns out, but we can talk about that. And we still, of course, will do the raffle here. So we're bringing everybody on to say hello, everybody who's left, and also say goodbye here shortly.
Hi, I guess I'll do a quick mention about who Michael Ripple is. He's the cartoonist that's donated his art for this drawing. He, in the early 60s, he was an investment banker and a portfolio manager for a large Wall Street bank in New York City. And the political battles at the time had a significant impact on him. According to him, it hit him that recommending stocks such as Colt Firearms and Dow Chemicals was far from his changing values. And in a word, he just kind of dropped out, moved to Boston, and he began working with organizations that more shared his values. And what stood out was how millions of dollars are being spent to influence our election. That's when he started also not working as a cartoonist, but also started creating cartoons as an outlet for what he was seeing in the world. So he felt like Move to Amend most closely aligned with what he was trying to articulate and raise awareness of in his art, with the issues of corporate constitutional rights and the damaging effects of big money in our elections. Unfortunately, he was having computer problems tonight, so he isn't going to be able to announce the winner. But we are very, very grateful for him donating his art for us.
Great. And as we said at the top of the hour, those who became new monthly sustainers will be entered into a drawing for the two pieces that Michael Ripple has donated. And so the two winners of those pieces are James Foley in Santa Rosa, California, and Donna Noonan in Portland, Oregon. So thank you both so much for becoming sustainers. If you're considering it yourself, most of us here are small monthly sustainers ourselves. This is the best way for us to look ahead and budget and prioritize. So please, if you're considering it, do consider becoming a monthly donor.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Michael, and to the two winners. Congratulations. I do have a couple more people to thank, and if you get your donation in really quick here, you could be on that list as well. So I want to thank Isaac from California, and I also want to thank Alfonso, who's sitting right there, who made an extra donation. And I also want to acknowledge and appreciate Alfonso for the work on being the coordinator of this live stream and helping to take our social media game to a new level over the last couple of years. And so thank you for the donation, but most importantly, thank you so much for all your really good work tonight and, always. So anything else that we want to say before Millie closes us up? I think maybe last call for anyone who's got any additional pieces to add.
Just Happy New Year. Looking forward to kicking ass in 2022.
Watch Don't Look Up.
Yes.
Not the best performances, but a pretty good message that
and kind of funny.
I
laughed a lot. but I would.
And as Daniel said, Adam McKay is a Move to Amend supporter. Many years ago, out of nowhere, he contacted us and said, hey, his assistant contacted us and said, Adam loves Move to Amend and wants to throw a party for you guys. So Daniel and I went to Adam's house and he made a nice donation to Move to Amend. So thanks, Adam, for that. All right, Millie, take us home and let all these good people go. And also to everybody, don't forget to share this stream with your friends and family. Let's grow our numbers as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much to everyone who's contributed. And I also, again, really want to recognize Alfonso Saldana, our communications and social media coordinator. He created this entire fantastic live stream tonight. So thank you so, so much. And as Caitlin said, please continue to share this video. The recording will be available immediately at the same link, movetoamend.org/live. I also want to give one more reminder that we have until tomorrow to make our $40,000 match drive goal. And a handful of our grassroots leaders have actually formed this 40,000 match fund. Unusual. It's usually a couple wealthy donors or foundations. And this is to stretch the contributions of those listening tonight. So let's roll into 2022 with the resources that we need to continue the momentum of 2021 and our best year in Congress yet. Thank you for your support. And I can speak for the full national team, I think, by saying thank you to each and every person out there who has contributed to the movement to amend, to every person who has collected petitions, lobbied their representatives on behalf of the We the People Amendment, organized within their community, and worked tirelessly to get awareness out there about what corporate personhood is and how it affects almost every facet of our lives. Thank you to every person who has pushed outside of their comfort zone to initiate conversations with their neighbors and loved ones about the devastating impact of corporate constitutional rights and the hot systemic solution that is HJR 48, the We the People Amendment. It is an honor to work with those of you who I know that are watching, and for those of you who are new to us, I look forward to making plans with you in the new year. Onward together we go, and see you in the next year.
Thanks, Millie.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful new year.
How many gifts can a congressman take and somehow remain a good man? How many bribes can corporations give before their bribes are forever banned? The answer, my friend, is move to amend. The answer is move to amend. The answer, my friend, is move to amend.